I got a quick question.
Okay.
To go off on a tangent.
Totally.
In their prime, which is better, Nitro or Raw?
Nitro. No question in my mind. Were you watching? You were watching wrestling at this time, were you, or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like basically
in its prime,
right?
Like during,
basically during the wars, we're talking like
what is it? 97,
during the wars, during
Yeah.
like the Attitude Era.
Mm-hmm. I would say WWE's prime. Well, I mean the best year for business that WWE has ever had, I think even still today, was 1998.
Yes.
Because that was the year after the Montreal Screwjob. Mr. McMahon is born. Austin is coming way up. The Rock is coming way up. And that was like the record year for business.
That
was like 98, 99 into 2000. And that's pretty much when WCW's prime was too. We're talking 96, 97. So we're looking at like that time frame in there.
Yeah. I'm torn.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's tough. It's not an easy question, although I seem to answer it fairly easily. But
me too.
I've also thought
WCW.
about it. Yeah, I would argue that WWF had bigger stars.
Yeah,
but as a television program, I don't think you beat Nitro in its prime.
No, you don't. Like they went to 3 hours.
Yeah,
and there was not a boring moment
in
3 hours.
Because the one thing. Well, not the one thing, but one of the big things that Eric Bischoff and that creative team was always able to do, and this is something that Vince Russo takes credit for all the time, which is fucking bullshit, because Vince Russo's an idiot. I started sounding like Jim Cornette there for a second. But Vince Russo's a fucking moron, and he always takes credit for this, I always knew how to push the mid-level guys. Bullshit, that was Bischoff.
Yeah.
They were pushing mid-level guys long before Russo got to the company.
Yeah.
Russo was still with WWF at the time, who couldn't push a mid-carder to save their fucking souls until Russo left. Then they started pushing the fucking mid-card guys. Ken Shamrock was fighting for the Intercontinental title. Like, they were making mid-carders who then 5 years later were main eventers. So that's my little tangent of fuck Vince Russo. Anyways, Bischoff was always great at finding things for his talent to do, whether they were mid-carders, they were taking arm drags in the second match, whatever. Everyone was doing something, and everyone had a storyline, and everyone had something that was interesting, whether it was fucking Raven's Flock or the new Four Horsemen with fucking Benoit and Guerrero and Dean Malenko and shit like that. Whether it was, is this person going to join the NWO or not? And then you had the marquee star power of the NWO, fucking Goldberg, Sting, Hogan, Nash and Hall. You had marquee star power at the top, but it was almost like a trickle-down kind of thing. Like you had the big star power at the top, but everybody below that had something interesting to do. The fucking cruiserweights. And yeah, there were a lot of belts. They had probably too many championships, but they also had a huge roster. And that's how you could afford to do 3 hours of television on Monday nights and then another 3 hours of television on Thursday nights and still make everything super interesting. So as far as I'm concerned, you can't beat WCW.
Okay. You've
we tipped the scales.
You tipped the scales.
Right on.
It's there.
But again, as I said, WWF had bigger stars. They had Austin and Rock and Mankind and The Undertaker and guys that were top tier. Triple H, even though he's the guy that works with the guy that makes the money, still best heel in the company. So they had those guys who were coming up. So bigger stars, but WCW had the better TV program.
Okay, let's get away from like the big a little bit, and let's get into a little bit of local.
Okay. First of all, just before we get into local, so TNA's ratings are now down to 1.0, and now people inside the company are saying, yeah, but it can't get any worse. Let's see how they feel when they get down to a 0.75. And they'll be like, well, it can't get any worse. And that's why all these people are leaving TNA. Like, that's why AJ Styles didn't re-sign. That's why fucking Christopher Daniels didn't re-sign. That's why Samoa Joe is not going to re-sign. So Samoa Joe is going to be a fucking free agent soon. And that's why Kurt Angle's not going back. That's why Sting's not there. They're not willing to pay these guys the big salaries, which I can understand because they're not making any fucking money because their program is not good. So that's the end of TNA. Let's go to some local. It's wrestling that matters.
Wrestling that matters.
Go to some local.
What matters?
Nothing. Nothing matters.
Hey, now. Something does matter.
Else matters.
Something does matter, and it's TCW.
True enough.
Twin
TCW
City
does
Wrestling,
matter.
which you haven't heard us talk a lot about, and that's because it went a little bit away for the winter, and that's because people have to travel in the winter, and it's much better just to have it in the summer when everybody likes to go to it, and we're happy to announce there's 3 actual dates that are confirmed.
Fantastic.
At the Halifax Forum.
The Forum, by the way, is a great building for wrestling.
It is.
It's an excellent
You just hit your mic. Hello.
My bad.
Good morning.
So the big one, the one that we're bringing, the biggest show, it's going to be pretty much bigger than like
anything TNA has ever done.
All last year combined.
Right on.
Coming to you June the 28th. Let me just pull this up here. My phone went on night mode. So,
the dreaded night mode.
The dreaded night mode. Okay, so here's some of the names that we're going to have there. Dick Durning.
Of course.
Which, of course, he is the heavyweight champion. He's going to defend his championship. We don't know by whom. We will also have Mr. 450, Julius Fantana. We hope he's better.
Fingers crossed. Mr. Fantana had a little accident and injured his hip, wasn't it?
Yes, he landed the wrong way. He said it could have been much worse.
Could have been, could have been a lot worse than it was. But so he seems to. Well, I mean, he's still hurt, but best case scenario, I guess. Fingers crossed he'll be at the show. Now, I mean, he's only got 4 weeks, but best case scenario, he'll be at the show.
We also have our first ever women's match.
And you know what? This is a match. It's Leia Von Dutch and what's the other girl's name?
Courtney Rush.
I posted the link to Twin City Wrestling's Facebook page and website. It's a large group that I'm a part of on Facebook called The Flock. And somebody actually went and took a look at it, a guy from Montreal. And the comment that he left on the link was, any company that books Leia Von Dutch versus Courtney Rush is worth watching.
Nice.
So there you go. There was a little plug from a guy I don't even really know, but a guy that's from Montreal.
Wonderful.
So clearly he's very familiar with these girls. And yeah, that is the first ever, it will be rather, the first ever women's match in TCW history, which is nice. I think it's a nice added element to the show that is already put on.
Almost definitely. Even more awesome, one of the fast rising stars in the world of professional wrestling, Cody Hall.
The son
of the bad
guy. Scott Hall's son, Cody, who, again, I actually thought wasn't in the business anymore. Because I had remembered reading an article that was like, Cody Hall's not in the wrestling business anymore. Apparently he still is. So there you go. So he is going to be a part of the next TCW show, which is fantastic. You haven't hit us with the headline yet.
By the future, Chris Hale Sabin.
We get a Chris Sabin showing, which I'm not the world's biggest Chris Sabin fan. I think he works extremely well. I think he's a really great athlete and a great wrestler. But I wouldn't call myself. I'm not a card-carrying member of the Chris Sabin fan club. But at the same time, I love independent promotions that bring in guys that can go and guys that can actually wrestle.
Yeah.
And this guy can actually wrestle.
He
can
go.
Anybody that is, a fan of, good TNA, of good TNA wrestling, will know that like Chris Sabin was a huge part of good TNA wrestling, former TNA heavyweight champion. Actually, I think holds the record for the most X Division titles, doesn't he? I think he's got 8.
Believe so.
So I mean, this is a guy he's won titles all over the world, and I can't wait to see A, how he's used, and B, who he's up against. So I can't wait to see that.
So the other 2 dates, other than June the 28th, that you want to get off, you don't want to miss these shows. That's what I'm trying to say.
Work. I'm gonna call Tyler's work tomorrow and be like, he needs these days off.
July the 26th and August I believe it's the 16th.
Okay.
But you can get all your information that you want over at the TCW website.
TwinCityWrestling.com, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yep. TwinCityWrestling.com
and their Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. Just search Twin City Wrestling on Facebook.
Yeah. It's a Dartmouth promotion.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a promotion out of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Nice big yellow and black logo. You can't miss it. So that's that's huge. We've waited for a while for Twin City Wrestling to come back, and it's finally going to come back. And I think these are going to be some great shows. And speaking of recent shows, sticking with Twin City Wrestling still for a little bit more, Twin City Wrestling made its Eastlink debut, kind of. That's about as good as we could. That's about as good as we could say. They, of course, cut together some of their last shows and are on Eastlink television, sort of. Depending where you are, you either saw it on Thursday, or you get to see it tomorrow. Unfortunately, we are in the location where you get to see it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Apparently, the first episode or whatever of Twin City Wrestling played on Eastlink television, but in Halifax, and like in the Halifax municipality. But outside of Halifax, I guess it has to wait a couple of days because they can't possibly think of preempting Fishing with Friends, so they got to find another time slot down here. And so that plays on Sunday. And not to put you on the spot, but you have a little story about this because you were trying to find it to either watch or DVR the show. And what exactly happened?
Well, we just ended up actually calling Eastlink. And they had no idea. Like, just check back near 8. Like, the programs change without warning. Like, they just change sometimes. So just check back. So we checked back, and Fishing with Friends was on. Like, well, this is good wrestling. Oh, this is what TCW is all about.
Man, I know what they've been talking about for the last year.
Man, this is awesome. That's pretty much, I guess that's really it.
Look at that fish do a 450.
Jumps out of the water so high and everything.
I know. Yeah, that was disappointing as hell. In any case, folks, if you are in the Nova Scotia area, if you are an Eastlink customer, Eastlink Channel 10 or whatever channel it happens to be, find out what your Eastlink channel is. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, Twin City Wrestling on Eastlink. I promise you, based on being in attendance for these shows, you will not be disappointed if you like good wrestling.
Don't change the channel.
Exactly. If you don't like good wrestling, if you like Grand Prix with midgets and 8 wrestlers booked on a card, you might not like this. But if you like good wrestling, you'll like TCW.
Well said.
Ba-bam! Shooting fire
Ba-bandy.
On Grand Prix Wrestling. It's a promotion that's been around for 50 years or more. So, folks, where do we go from here?
David Blaine's Mind Freak. Mind Freak!
Oh, God, I fucking hate David Blaine.
And Mind Freak is Criss Angel.
Yeah, Mind Freak is definitely Criss Angel.
I just Mind Freaked your mind.
I don't like Criss Angel either, but I really don't like David Blaine. John Edwards. I don't like any of these people that are fucking frauds. I'll just toss it out there. None of these people is real. They just psychic douchebags. Tyler looks like he's going to spit fire at me.
No,
He's going to defend him some David Blaine.
No.
Defend yourself!
Are you trying to say that magicians aren't real?
Totally. The only magicians that are real are black mages from Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
White mages aren't even real. They're just posers.
Oh, you guys looking at me. Stop looking at me.
We can't stop
You're
looking at you.
retort.
You're the... No, it's just like we can't stop looking at you because we're not used to a third person being here, so we just gotta stare at you and make you feel super awkward.
This is the way it goes.
This is the strict rule of the No Holds Barred podcast. And you know what, folks? This is what happens when you don't have a script. We're just like, where do we go from here? I'm gonna tell you a story.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you a story. It's a story.
Tell us a story, Justin.
Two intrepid adventurers named Justin and Tyler, who were adventuring this early afternoon today, adventuring from their campsite, which was Wendy's, to the next battle arena, which was the Bridgewater Mall. So we went to Wendy's for lunch, and sorry, I'm blowing the mystique. We went to Wendy's for lunch, and we went to head over to the mall because we're talking about this super secretive but non-secretive but kind of idea.
Wait. Hold on. Before you left Wendy's, did you have dessert today?
Yeah, fuck you. I know we've told the story on the podcast. It wasn't Wendy's, it was McDonald's.
I know,
still,
but I still
just
have
the fact
to bring
that it was
up.
fast food. Yeah, you got to bring it. You always got to bring up painful memories, don't you? Did I ever tell you about this?
No.
Okay. Just before we get back to our intrepid adventure, sidebar. We were in the McDonald's in Clayton Park, wasn't it?
Yes.
So it was the Clayton Park McDonald's in Halifax. And Nick made his order and was perfectly fine. I think we were going to a Mooseheads game.
We were.
Okay. Nick made his order and it was perfectly fine. And then I went up and made my order. And the girl who was behind the counter couldn't have been any older than 17. Like she was just still a high schooler, clearly. She looked me dead in the eyes and in 100% seriousness was just like, no dessert today?
Nice.
This bitch called me fat in her own fucking way, right in the fucking middle of this McDonald's. Just like she was like shocked that I wasn't having any dessert, and I was just like, no. And she was like, okay, it'll be da 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 da. And what I should have done was reached over the counter and went upside her head. But I didn't. But I should have. But I didn't. But I should have.
True story.
True story. Happened to a friend of mine, by which I mean me. So, yeah, what a bitch.
What a bitch.
Nailed it. So back to our
regular
adventures.
Scheduled program.
Regularly scheduled programming. Exactly. So we're going from Wendy's to the Bridgewater Mall, which is literally just across the street. And we're at Tim Hortons just to get something to drink. We're going to sit down. We're hammering out some ideas, as we like to call them. Ideas. Not ideas.
Ideas. Up in the air.
So we're walking up to Tim's, and I see a friend of mine. Her name's Erin. We waved at each other, and we kind of started talking, and I don't know if did I introduce you as Tyler, or did she already? No, she knew.
I get to meet your friend Tyler. I'm like, cool.
So Tyler felt like a bit of a rock. You got to admit, you felt like a bit of a rock star just for a second.
No, you know what? I actually feel awkward.
When you feel awkward,
not in a bad
when people
way.
know you?
I'm not shit talking her for making me feel awkward, but it's just like, this person knows me. Okay, I'm just gonna go over here now.
Or the immediate first thought is, oh my God, what does she know? What does she know, and how can it incriminate me? So she's like, oh, I get to meet your friend Tyler, and I was like, kind of like, yeah, you sure do.
I just smile, like, nice girl. I don't know if
yeah.
she listens to this. I'm not trying to hit on nice girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just didn't have a fucking clue what was going on.
Exactly. We kind of go, and she's still there and talking to us, and that's perfectly fine. Not like, don't talk to us, damn it.
Well, it's a big deal to me because girls don't talk to me.
Exactly. Famous girls, they don't like us.
No girls like us.
We got the juice. So, we're just kind of having friendly conversation and everything like that. And then she follows us to our table. So I was like, okay, cool. And she sits down with us. I was like, okay,
really?
cool.
Oh, nice.
So we're literally just talking about everything except what we went there to talk about, which was the idea that we've been batting back and forth and trying to hammer out. So we're talking about a little bit of everything. She's talking about like going over boyfriend's parents for supper and talking about video games and
Whoa, boyfriend.
yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
You just ruined the whole story.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Nick was hoping the next part of the story was, and then we took her to the bathroom and had a double team.
No, I was hoping that you told her about me.
Oh. Waited for Nick to get here, took her to the bathroom, and had a triple team.
We know this really energetic reincarnation of the Ultimate Warrior
Yeah, exactly.
that we would love for you to
You
meet.
should meet him.
We would love to make little
He's
ultimate.
the fun guy.
We would love for you to make little Ultimate Warrior babies with him. Or maybe not
my
babies.
Lord.
Maybe just have a good time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You just
no
be
ba-
running
no
around,
babies.
shaking their umbilical cord.
No babies, please. No.
So, we're having this conversation and just kind of, there's times when like me and her are talking to each other and Tyler's not saying anything, or me and Tyler are talking to each other and she's not saying anything. So it's just like, we're kind of waiting for that awkward moment where one of us is just like, okay, well, I guess I better take off because like you're waiting for that moment in conversation.
Yeah.
And not that we were trying to get rid of her or anything like that, but we were just waiting for that moment in conversation where we could kind of get back to talking about what we had gone there to talk about. That moment never really happens until eventually we were just like I had finished my drink. You were basically just stirring yours with a straw, so I knew you were pretty much done. And then she was like, well, I kind of got to go get groceries. And we're like, okay, cool. This is our moment. During the conversation, she had pulled out a $10 bill. And the $10 bill was just like laying in front of her. And I was just like, blowjob? No. Like, it almost took me back to that moment, that time that we were standing in front of Zeller's. And the drunk girl walked by us and was like, I'll show you my tits for $5.
No, it wasn't even 5. It was like 2.
Yeah, it was nothing. It was like cover to get into the bar. Like it was nothing. And I was just like, I don't have any money. But then in retrospect, I was just like, I wonder how much I could have negotiated for. 'Cause I had a couple of $20 bills in my wallet, and I was just like, I wonder. I just would have left you standing in front of Zellers at like midnight on a Friday. They're like, see ya. I would go get blown behind the Zellers. That didn't happen, folks. No VDs for Justin that I know of anyway. So, we're having this conversation and it finally seems like it's coming to its natural fucking closure point. And so this $10 bill had been like passed around by all of us because like she just had it literally just laying in front of her. So I had made the joke where like I was just talking in regular conversation and I reached out and I just took it. And I just, I kind of laughed about it or whatever. I gave it back to her. And then she picked it up and handed it to Tyler. And I thought she was just extending the joke.
So did I.
Which
and I pretended to put it in my pocket.
Exactly.
And then I gave it back like a gentleman would.
Exactly.
I mean, I wanted the money.
Yeah,
I was thinking
it was
about hitting her in the head and just taking it. $10, man.
Exactly. $10 But like, we're not going to steal her money or whatever. So you gave it back to her. I can't remember if she had like a confused look on her face at this time or anything, or
I think she may have.
She may have a little bit. And then she started texting after that, and I was wondering if she was just like texting her boyfriend and just being like, "This is the most awkward thing I've ever had happen," because of what we're going to tell you in just a second.
The good part is coming.
The good part
Winter
is coming.
is coming.
Exactly. Brace yourselves. The
dragons
good
are
part
coming.
is coming. So we get ready to leave, and we're like kind of walking away, but I'm kind of hanging back so Erin doesn't think we're just like running away from her. And she holds the $10 bill out and was like, games?
Games?
And then I immediately thought, is this chick offering to pay me to suck my dick? Like, I don't understand what's happening. And then I was like, what games? I was like, what games? And she's like, do you have games to sell me? And we're like, No, we
Like,
don't.
Why would I have games?
What happened was that Aaron, the reason Aaron was at the mall
Yeah.
was she was supposed to meet a guy named Tyler, who is also a friend of mine, to buy some used games off of him.
Oh, jeez.
So she saw me walk with a guy that she knew whose name was Tyler from either Facebook or...
How does she...
You know what? It must be from Facebook, because she's seen you like comment on my Facebook things and everything. Knows your name is Tyler.
Or maybe she didn't know that his name was Tyler.
No,
she knew because she said, "Tyler, I get to meet your friend Tyler."
Yeah, but she was meeting a person named Tyler.
But she knew
So
that his name was Tyler for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that she knew my name was Tyler.
Yeah, 100% chance she knew.
How do you know though? Because she was meeting a guy named Tyler.
calling
which
us
was
out.
your
True.
friend.
Because later, just like 2 minutes into the conversation, she's like gestures over to Tyler, and she's like, "How does he keep getting all these games?" So she knew that he was a Tyler.
He was a Tyler that was selling games to her.
But it wasn't this Tyler, it was a different Tyler.
I know.
But she didn't know that. So this is where the fucking French bedroom farce comes into play.
But she didn't know it was that his name was actually Tyler. She thought that he was the Tyler that was selling the games to her.
Right, but no, she definitely knew that his name was Tyler. She just didn't put two and two together that it wasn't the same Tyler that she was talking to about buying the games. Who's on first? Sorry. So, like, the moral of the story is she thought that we were there to sell her these games. But she was waiting for a different... Now that I think about it...
You're not really putting two and two together of what I'm trying to say.
No, clearly I'm not. So you tell me what you're trying to say one more time.
She knew his name was Tyler because she was meeting a Tyler.
Right.
To sell her video games.
Yes. This is not a crack deal, by the way.
No.
This is actual video games.
How does he get this many video games? Because he's selling her video games. You could have been with a Joe and she could have came up and said, "I'm going to meet your friend Tyler." His name could have been Joe for all we know.
Yeah, but she knew that his name wasn't
because
Joe.
she was meeting a Tyler. He was
she knew. She knows him from Facebook. She's seen him post on my Facebook, knows that his name is Tyler because his display picture is actually him. So she knew that was a guy named Tyler.
Okay, so you didn't iterate this.
Okay, sorry. My bad. She definitely knew that Tyler's name was Tyler.
This is just like kind of at HGS with some people when you ask a question, they just tell you, this is the way it is. Just do it like this. And I hate it because I want to see in our lookup tool, this is why this is. I just don't want you to tell me this.
Right.
I want to know why.
I want to know why. Fair enough. What were we talking about?
End off the story.
Yeah, fair enough. So again, she thought that this was the one that she was supposed to meet. Just thought maybe he had met up with me or whatever, and was like, "Oh, look, there's Justin, and that's Tyler who's coming to sell me the games." And poor Tyler was just like, "I don't have any games for you. Like, I'll take your money."
Did she try to rob me?
It's true. I was like, "I don't have any games for you." I can't remember what games she said she was there to buy.
I don't know.
In any case, so poor Erin was kind of embarrassed because she was just like, "I just thought we were making witty banter before our fucking transaction went down." And we're looking at each other this whole time just like, when is this going to end?
Yeah, at that point, you just kind of got to retreat.
Yeah,
Didn't she have like a phone number?
You know what?
I each other just like blindly.
For
a transaction.
I don't know if she had just like talked. Probably. I figure the way that they met to do that was probably through Halifax Buy and Sell.
Okay.
So I figured that's probably how they met and arranged that they were gonna make this deal or whatever. Long story short, which is impossible now because it's been a long story. Poor Erin thought we were there to sell her games. We were really selling her Wolf tickets.
We made her wait for, an hour?
Yeah, it was like an hour and a half, and we lost an hour and a half of conversation time about this idea that we've been rocking, and so that was basically our day. And then we came up here and talked about our pasts in writing and foibles that we've put in stories and things that we've blatantly ripped off. So that's basically our day until Nick showed up and made things exciting. So we appreciate that.
I can do that now.
Exactly.
I got a vibe that just keeps on ticking.
I thought he was going to be like, I got a vibrator.
Oh, I got one of those too. Actually, I got a couple that take batteries. They got rechargeables in them right now. One is purple, one is red, and one is sparkling.
Ooh.
So, ladies, I got you covered.
Exactly. Here's something that I've never understood. And this is we'll end off on this. First of all, there's no Craigslist segment this week because I didn't take the time to look up Craigslist.
Not
I didn't take the time to look
your
up
ears today.
Exactly. Next time.
And
there's still no stupid recent news.
Craigslist.
Like we haven't. God damn it! I haven't looked up any like stupid recent news articles or anything like that. Basically, just go on CNN. There's got to be some stupid articles
news
on there. But here's something I've never understood.
What?
The sex toy that plugs into the wall.
Yeah.
This is not anything I've ever. I don't get it. I don't get why you would ever want to do that over having batteries. I understand that like plugging it into the wall means it would never run out.
Yes.
But that seems to me like it's a much greater risk for like shorting out and burning your pussy off or something. Like it just seems like it's a lot more dangerous.
Maybe that's part of the fun.
Maybe that is part of the fun. But like I saw the video for what's it called? The Autoblow, I think it's called. Mm-hmm. It's a blowjob machine. It's like a blowjob robot, basically.
I got one of those. It's called Nick.
It's called Nick, yeah. And he never runs out of batteries. But yeah, it's called like the Autoblow or some shit, and it's got like the same kind of sleeve as you would have in like a fleshlight, but it's got a robot putting his hoodie over his lap so we don't see his fucking boner popping up. Yeah.
Oh.
So like it's got the same sleeve as you'd have in a fleshlight, but it's got like these beads on the inside of it that a robot arm just moves up and down. So it's basically like it's trying to simulate the way a mouth feels when it's giving a blowjob. Fantastic creation. I'm not arguing that, but it plugs into the wall, and that scares the ever living fuck out of me. Because what if you had a power surge? The thing would just like rip your dick off.
It would, but power surge, power bar.
So you're plugging it into a power bar that is plugged into the wall.
It plugged into the wall, yes.
Always safety.
That seems like a lot of effort to get a fake blowjob.
Always safety first, kids.
Safety things that you need in a power bar: computers, blowjob robot. it's number 1 and number 2 on your list. I mean, come on.
Nick currently going through firefighter training. The number 2 cause of personal injury is blowjob robots. Oh, Jesus. All right, folks. Anything else we want to talk about, or are we going to wrap this baby up? What do you want to talk about, Nick? You got something in your pretty little mind. I know you do.
I want something in your pretty little mouth. I'm going to talk like this from now on.
Pilgrim. Fuck.
Oh shit. No, I'm pretty much done.
All right. I got to tell you, I fucking enjoyed this.
I bet that's the most that I've seen you drink on a podcast
I'm actually going to physically finish a beer, which I don't tend to do.
You have never.
I don't think I ever.
Never.
No, that's a lie. I finished the it was one of the hops ones. The one that we really liked, Cascade.
Cascade, yes.
I finished the Cascade because that was fucking delicious. But this, I'm going to finish, and I think I know why, because I think all the cane sugar that's in it is just settled on the bottom. So it's just like really sugary lemonade now. All right, so one more time, folks. Twin City Wrestling, Sunday, 8 o'clock. If you've got Eastlink, that's great. Who knows, if we really get ambitious maybe we'll get a little tete-a-tete going with the boss, and maybe we can work out a little live stream thing. If we do that, we'll be 100% sure to let you know, so that even if you're out of market, you can catch Twin City Wrestling. That's a possibility. If nobody else has got anything to say, I think it's a good place to wrap up for this week. Lord knows, oh, God, I really hope that shows up. I really hope that picks up on the audio.
You should.
It might. There's an outside chance, in case you didn't tell, Nick farted into his fucking microphone. Why? Because we're highbrow.
Because Nick.
Yeah, because Nick, exactly.
Because me.
Should we maybe get out of here on a car story? Can we pull an old car story out of our hat?
Do we have an old car story that we haven't told?
Something that maybe something that involved all three of us.
I wasn't in the car.
You had been in it before though, hadn't you?
No.
Really?
I don't think so.
You were a time or two. A time or two. Weren't you in the car with us when we got pulled over?
Nope.
So, see, the car was so full when we got pulled over.
Wait a minute. Which time was this?
Which time that we got pulled over?
Was this the time when we had you, me, Becky, Richard,
Andrea?
There
was 4 people in the back seat.
There was Dennis and his friend.
Yes, because wasn't that the time we had one of them in the trunk? Wasn't Dennis in the trunk? Yes, we actually did this.
I think so. Because one of the times Dennis was in the trunk, and one of the times coming back from school, Jill was in the trunk.
Yes. Put his fucking stepsister
Putting
in the
a
trunk.
woman in the trunk.
Put her in the trunk.
I knew there was something I liked about you, Nick.
Exactly. Yeah, because I think the time that we got pulled over, Dennis was in the trunk, but the cop didn't check the trunk. Thank fuck.
Yeah.
Because if he would have, we would have gone to jail for having a fucking guy in the trunk. Because if that would have been me, if he would have checked the trunk and opened it, I would have just gotten out and ran away. Been like, I'm free.
I don't think Andrea was in the car.
I really thought she was. Maybe she wasn't.
I don't think so.
Was Green News in the car? Fuck, man. The memories are fading away because we're getting old.
Yeah, I know. It's bad.
God fucking damn it. Something we didn't talk about because this happened. That's that one time. We went to Game 7 of the Mooseheads and Valdor series, which unfortunately didn't work out in our favor.
This was recently.
No, yeah,
not really recently, but I mean still.
Recently as in happened between the last time we did a podcast and now.
Yeah.
So we rocked that, and it was an enjoyable game, even though the outcome wasn't the way that we wanted it. We had one of the ushers take a fucking picture of us. It was adorable. It was all adorable. We were all cuddled in close together, and it was like, oh, and he was like, yeah, whatever. Do. So again, the game was enjoyable, and again, didn't end the way we wanted it to. But hey, Valdor ended up winning the Quebec League title, and they seem to be doing very well in the Memorial Cup. So if Halifax couldn't be there, at least the team that beat Halifax got there. So we'll put it that way. Also, Dustin Tokarski is the man. Tyler, want to tell us a little bit about the career of Dustin Tokarski from your perspective, at least?
Okay, so when I lived in Kitchener,
Tyler moved to Kitchener. What year was it?
I don't know. Years?
Because I was in university, so it was
about a while ago now.
06? How long were you there?
Long ago.
How long were you there?
I was only there for about 2 years.
About 2 years? Because you didn't come back until you were back a little bit when I came back from Maine. But I came back from Maine middle of 08. So you might have been there from like 06 to 08 maybe?
Damn.
Or something like that.
I don't know.
Anyways.
Quite a while ago.
Yep.
So then, of course, I had like hometown pride because of woohoo, I got to see them go to the Memorial Cup. Mm-hmm. So I'm watching it on TV, and they come against, what is it, Spokane?
Yeah, I think it was
what
Spokane.
Dustin played. And fucking Tokarski was in net, And I'm a goalie guy from like our road hockey days. Like
Yeah.
I tend to side with teams that have goalies I like.
You absolutely do.
Except for Toronto. I like Toronto. But besides that, I go where my favorite goalies are.
But remember when Toronto had like Cujo and
Yeah.
shit, you were just like, fuck yeah, Toronto, because now it's your team and they've got an elite goaltender. So,
but like I loved Buffalo for years just because of Hasek, because he was my favorite goalie.
Tyler
right?
modeled his street hockey game after Dominic Hasek.
Where was I? Oh, yeah. So this Tokarski kid, who I'd never actually seen, started shutting down my Rangers. I wasn't even depressed about it because, like, part of me is like, go Kitchener. Like, I still have my Kitchener hat.
Right.
Like, I'm wearing it now. So I'm like, I want Kitchener to win, but I also want this badass goalie to kick ass, right? So I was kind of a little torn between Spokane and Kitchener. Not really a very interesting story, but
Well, still.
But I didn't know he was on Montreal until you told me, because I don't really watch hockey.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, so he ended up getting traded to Montreal, and now with the injury to Carey Price, he's basically the team is on the shoulders. So fingers crossed that that ends up working out for Montreal.
He's got to beat the New York Rangers. So
Yeah.
Justin's heard me say this a few times, but if he beats the New York Rangers, then he's taken out 2 Rangers teams.
It's true. It's true. So thank Christ he has got an outside shot to be the Rangers killer. Anyways, folks, that is going to do it. Episode 33 of the No Holds Barred podcast. Again, hit us back up next week. I don't know whether it's going to be the regular podcast or maybe the wrestling podcast. We haven't made that decision yet. So we is going to get the hell out of here. All right, folks, we will see you again next week for episode 33 of the No Holds Barred podcast. I am Justin.
Yeah, I am Nick.
And he is...
Awesome.
There you go. Nailed it.
But his real name is Tyler, and he's not going to sell you any video games.
Exactly.
I might. Don't fucking make my choices for me. Fuck you, Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it, and we will see you again next time.
Later.